I think mainly in the cultural domain and in the urban domain. And then there's the critical debate that needs to happen in Australia, in my point of view. So I see three fields where we can contribute. The cultural domain or the public sector has changed significantly in Australia over the last 30 years, and it needs to change again, in my point of view. I think the model is in the long run probably not sustainable. Then the urban agenda of cities that have large growth, that maybe have a European starting point but an American outreach. If you look at it from an historical point of view, there needs to be actually an Australian solution, and that is an interesting question, and it's a large scale question that is very different than developing an area or developing a building, and that's an expertise that I think needs to nurture still here. And then kind of what I see is that the model that has been created, where in procurement, in the way projects are structured, in the way risks are managed, in the way safety is managed, there needs to be a debate and a very clear, let's say, revision of its language, because it became more and more one type, and with one type you cannot create society. You need more ways of procuring projects, you need more people that are actually in the lead of projects, you need not only risk management, but you also need vision. From the outside, we can contribute to that debate, and we also want to contribute to the debate, because we see that there are a lot of good younger practices, also more established practices, that don't have the outreach that they could have potentially if they would be exposed to different types of models, and therefore could operate in Asia or in Europe or globally for that matter. Now, the biggest risk is that you are not informed to the detail, because you have to have such a big reach that you can only scratch the surface. Now, that's something to prevent, because you can only give the right answer in a process if you know the detail. So that's, we are like almost like scavengers going over the earth, finding a place where we think this is interesting, and then we start digging. I think that's a very important thing that you need to keep doing. You cannot say, okay, now we're a global practice, now we master the world, now we know how it works, because then tomorrow you're going to be exit. So that is I think a big risk for the practice. And of course, longevity of practice is important. Architecture is a personal business. There are faces involved, there are people involved. It's a kind of a people-to-people business, and you need to establish such a healthy breeding ground that a lot of people can flourish in that breeding ground. And it's not about one or two individuals, because if that's the model of the practice, then you will die at some point. And that is kind of a very specific strategy from OMA. There are also other practices that are well established that have a total different model, that don't want to survive in the long run. Now, we didn't choose for that model. We choose the opposite.